Mohammed Chipa lives in Springfield, Virginia, and is facing federal charges for providing material support to ISIS. This week in federal court in Alexandria, Magistrate Judge John Anderson ordered that Chipa remain behind bars for now, finding him to be both a flight risk and a danger to the community. Chipa is just one of several recent terrorism support cases in our area. So what's going on here? Well, here to talk about ISIS recruitment in suburban America is Edmund Fitton Brown, a former British diplomat and United Nations expert on terrorist organizations. Edmund, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. It's great to be here.
So this case is one of a few that have happened in our area, right here in our backyard. Talk a little bit about ISIS recruitment. Is it something that we're seeing pop up in suburban America?
Well, ISIS still has a full propaganda capability. It's one of the things that they preserved even after they were defeated in Iraq and Syria. So there's a lot of very developed ISIS propaganda out there, and a lot of people who still listen to that stuff or watch that stuff. And it was particularly bad during the pandemic, with people spending too much time online, a lot of people watching unsuitable material. So when you talk about recruitment nowadays in places like North America by ISIS, it's mainly inspiration from propaganda. It's not that they're being picked up in a more organized way. It's more that they're responding to what they find inspiring online.
And what are the most insidious methods for getting this propaganda out there? Are we talking about social media, or is this YouTube? I mean, this isn't, signs that are posted up on the street corner.
No, not on street corner, and certainly not on mainstream media. But they have a lot of platforms that they do use. They use platforms like Telegram, for example, and they have publications in lots of different languages. Now that's less relevant, obviously, to North America, where people are mainly going to be inspired if they see something in either English or whatever other language they might speak in their home. And the mainstream social media platforms, they will take this stuff down if they find it, but sometimes their response time is not very quick. And I would say that this is the sort of thing where enforcement just can't keep pace with the speed of movement of people who are putting up new posts.
This case is actually developing for years. There was an initial FBI raid on Mohammed Chipa's house back in 2019, a second raid that resulted in his arrest last week. But this type of coordination between intelligence officials and law enforcement can sometimes take a lot of time. How does a case develop like this? How do they find this type of intel? Tell us about that.
Well, it's important to remember that there are always much more subjects of interest to the authorities than they have the resources to cover fully. It's not as bad in the United States, but certainly in the United Kingdom, it's a huge exponential increase from the number of people you can actually cover to the people who are actually out there that you're concerned about. So it won't be unusual for a case to take time to be built and time to be resourced. This seems to have been a great success from the point of view of the U.S. Authorities, but you always have to be concerned that they don't always get on to people quickly enough. And when they do, it takes time for them to realize that somebody is a serious threat.
I want to ask you, comparing it here in the United States, actually, our social media companies and tech companies enjoy a pretty huge immunity from lawsuits related to, anti-terrorism or anything really in the United States. And there's actually a Supreme Court case right now pending that is questioning whether these social media companies like Google with YouTube, like Twitter, should be held responsible for participating in or aiding and abetting terrorism by providing a platform for recruitment. Just curious, because you mentioned the fact that sometimes they take videos down, sometimes they can't move as quickly. This is uniquely a United States issue, but do you think that there should be perhaps more pressure on these companies to act more quickly, or they're doing their best?
Well, I think they are trying hard. And of course, I can't comment from the point of view of your First Amendment concerns, because that can be difficult in this country in terms of really putting pressure on social media companies. There is something called Tech Against Terrorism, which does good work on convening people, bring them together, and making sure that they understand the reputational damage it can do to a social media company if they're considered to be reckless on a matter as important as terrorism. And the UN supports that, and the US government engages with it very closely. So there's a lot of work out there, but it's mainly voluntary. A lot of this stuff is self-policing. And as I said, I don't think the companies put enough resource into this, and they don't always move quickly enough.
Something to keep an eye on. That's another one of those major Supreme Court decisions we'll be waiting on in the next few weeks here in this country. Edmund Fitton Brown, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us and taking the time tonight.